Okay. So first of all, I'm very honored to be here again. And I do have some screens which some of you may have seen already because I presented in 2022 in Pisa some information about artificial intelligence. So I apologize if you've already seen a few of these things, but we've done so much more research and I wanted to make sure everyone knew about what we are up to. So I'm at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. It's a beautiful hilltop. Not as big as Machu Picchu, but very beautiful. And we've done a lot of international collaborations. Our museum has a very large collection. We've done collaborations with our Italian friends for a very long time, including through your Praiana photography and Movio, Antonella, if you remember. But more recently, I was able to present some concepts of the collection and the work I'm doing on artificial intelligence. And the reason I approached this question was we have a very large photography collection, about 140,000 items, which only makes up a small percentage of our museum, but it is almost like a black hole. It's just so much. And in addition, if we just look at all the 3 million images that we have in the museum, I was curious how AI could help. I began researching and I published and I shared this information in a number of environments, including recently we had a roundtable discussion in 2023. And then again, at the end, we've implemented. And I wanted to talk about the future. And if I look into the future, how would I use AI? So artificial intelligence as a lens and focusing on the topic of discovering street photography, I wanted to see how AI could help us see what's always been there. With me in not physically, but also virtually, are the team from Billions of Words, and they'll be introducing themselves later. So at the Israel Museum, the collections have many different facets, from black and white photographs to contemporary photographs, and they're scattered across a number of archives and departments. And so how can we apply this information, the artificial intelligence information, to the collection management? So one of the first research questions I posed was, would AI be able to read ancient Greek text? And here you can see a mosaic from our collection. And I started very simply using Google Lens, and it started to give me words, but not an idea. But when ChatGPT came around, it became ideas. And that was much more interesting because there were not just a word, but rather concepts that came up. And it did a pretty good job. Not as good as Curator, but it did some work, which was very interesting. So how can we use it beyond this? And so we thought about discovery. And again, where do we apply the discovery? Let's consider searching for a bicycle in our collection. And we have 24 departments: modern art, contemporary art, African art, ethnic art of different countries. So really, the search was across many collections, and I searched for the word bicycle. And if you look at the bicycle found in the image, this is a photograph from the North Shore of Tel Aviv. And you can see a bicycle in the last camel here. This is from 1935. When the photographer took the picture, I don't think the bicycle was the focus, but it was very interesting that AI discovered it. And here again, I thought this was amazing that the bicycle was identified by AI within the picture, although it's not the focus, the coffee shop was. This brought other questions. Why would this be brought to the fore when looking for a bicycle? And the reason is that the tubular work done with the chair was influenced by the material of a bicycle. And obviously this is a piece of a bicycle, but here we begin to ask questions about the difference of a curator thinking about a bicycle and a person. And here the bicycle is not the subject, but rather the fact that the artist created this piece of art during Dada and Surrealism. Another piece of work was identifying images, where here we see I fed or I taught the computer, the AI, the face of this artist. And he went through my collections and he found not only photographs from our photography department and the laboratories who took pictures for museum openings. And here you can see the artist at his own gallery opening from 1998. But he even identified the portrait that he made that's in the Israeli art department. But we found a lot of challenges in ethics. And some of these I shared previously, but I'll share again. There's just 2 or 3 screens. So if you allow me to return to this idea. This is a black and white photograph of the architect, Richard Kaufman, who was born in Germany. And what I did was I uploaded it and animated it. It was a black and white still photo. So my question to you is, how do we feel ethically about animating a photograph after someone passes? How would the family feel? How would the architect feel if he was alive? Would he be happy that this is the ability that AI created? And the same tool was not able to identify a face in this photo, which brings us to, of course, biases in facial recognition. Recently, though, I brought a new problem up, which is similar to something that might have come up earlier today, which is ethnic art and computers, the feeling, the spiritual side of the item. It's not addressed by the robot, by the computer. It sees expressions which are considered, let's call them Western in our understanding, and it identifies them. Is this a person crying, or is this a emotion which a human being has, or is it a sacred artwork for the ethnic tribe? So again, we have to be aware what AI does. The Yoruba people, I don't think, would be happy to hear that AI discovered an emotion in this artwork, as you can see on the AI tags here on the screen. So from research to application, what have we done? And again, focusing on street photography, my first question is defining street photography. So I recently had a trip to Romania, and I took a photo of a street photographer today. And one of the things that we discussed in a previous meeting when discussing the anniversary book, the 10th anniversary book, was defining street photographers. Often, sometimes they're women, which was interesting to see in Romania. It was a way for a woman on a Sunday to make a living. She could sell photos, and often these photos are not stored in museums. What is stored in our museum, when I searched for street photography, brought up some ideas which might not be the same kind of street photography that you have in your mind when you're searching your collections. And so I wanted to help discuss that you can have a number of iterations. You can have a lesson that you can teach to AI. You can explain where you're looking for better. You can say, I want it to be en face, I want it to be a couple, or I want it to be in Europe. And when I began this process of using the word street, this is a street scene in Munich, is this what we meant from street photography? So I'm going to introduce billions of words, and they're going to continue from here.
Thank you, Allison. We're very honored to be here, and really appreciate that you put us on your journey of technology and AI in the management of museums and video collections. We're a startup working in the AI domain, working with museums, libraries, and so on. And we think that AI can do a lot of things to help the curators and the collection management process by giving tools that are that may help the process. One of them is enriching the process of building metadata for the images. for searching and finding things inside your collections in the context of semantic understanding, visualizing and seeing the collection in interesting and new ways. So if you will pass to the next slide, you can see the first process of how we enrich metadata automatically by using AI. The algorithm looks at every image and gives extra tagging and keywords that matches every image. Automatically, it takes the knowledge of the organization, the metadata that is given by the curator, for example, the year of photography, the photographer name, the location, and things that cannot be understood from the image itself, and adds visual keywords according to the jargon and the vocabulary that is specific to the organization. So together with Allison, we worked using a few iterations. After we fine-tuned the exact terms that are relevant to the museum, we automatically added keywords to every image, so they will be searchable, and the content of the image will be can be found using the simple search engine for searching words. Another option in the next slide is that we can search using natural language. Okay, so not only using those specific keywords that can be integrated into the museum's software, we can also build a semantic search engine that looks for specific words that are or descriptions that are unique to every search itself. So, for example, we're looking for people walking down the street in Europe. So all the images that we see that are relevant to this search will appear in the results of this query. And then we can look at this image, dig into it, and on the next slide, we can see that if we are interested in a specific image, we can find and see it, either all its metadata and all the information that is integrated into the system, and also see similar images that are relevant semantically to this image. So, for example, in this picture in London by Tim Gidal, we can see more pictures in this collection that are semantically relevant, meaning people looking at the camera, the angle of the camera towards the street, and the entire concept of the image is similar to other images in the collection, and so we can learn about the collection and about the content using this tool that looks at the image and understands its content. The last tool that we're going to show here is new ways that we are, okay. We can, so if you'll pass to the next slide, we can see, is this a way where we can visually search this the tool live. We're looking here for a couple walking in, holding hands. Yes. Excuse me, Allison. I'm bringing
a couple walking down the street.
Down the streets, yeah.
Holding hands.
Yes, and as you said, Allison, in your demonstration last time, that people are walking down the street, and we see that a small part of the image does have this search of people walking down the street holding hands, and it's really hard to see it in the eyes of in human eyes. But if we dig into the high resolution of the image, we can see the content that is actually there. And the last visual that we want to show is that the entire collection can be displayed in a very interesting and new ways. So we can order the images according and give some context to the image itself, together with other images in the collection, because usually one image does not stand by itself, but it is in a context of different images in the collection. So here we can see that similar images appear one under another, and so we can see, for example, athletes that are together in this collection, and we can or street visuals of women, and so or jewelries. So all this enormous collection that can be millions and millions of images can be ordered in different ways in order for us to understand the collection better and look at it in different ways that are both semantic and contextual, together with the information and language of the museum.
So I'd like to take back the microphone and just continue and say that with the help of billions of words, we applied AI tags, and then we wanted to think about how to help the public discover our collections, and we created a new wall, which is a touch screen, and this is how it looks now in the museum. It's a touch screen which allows people to touch the item, and through AI connections, connect to collections. The words you see that are floating around, those are AI tags. They're in 3 languages, in Arabic, Hebrew, and English. So they move through the 3 languages, and they allow you to search, for example, for the word woman on the second screen from the left, or other words which AI was able to pull up, and it allows us to discover the collections in a new way. So we worked with a company called Tema, and they took our collections and the AI enhancement, and they created a wall for us using a design team, and we then are able to connect with the user by having a QR code that brings it to their phone and a map. And I'm going to end here with this one work, which it takes you to the item, for example, and it creates a new experience with augmented reality. And I'll play the video of augmented reality because it's a topic I would love to continue. Can you see the video as you hear it? I'm not sure. Yeah. Do you see over here the Cupid is out of the painting? It's jumped out. So that's Hannah, who's demonstrating how she's trying to catch the Cupid that left the painting. And so thank you very much for your time, and looking forward to hearing the rest of the lectures today.
Is there any question to Allison? Because we still have, we're a bit behind the agenda, but we still have time for a couple of questions, if any.
Yes, I'm interested to know which model or which software are you using for the artificial intelligence? Are you using Clip, OpenAI, or which is the kind of software that you use? How do you train facial recognition, and how many pictures do you need to train the system? Which is the percentage of confidence when you use this system, and if you can filter also by percentage of confidence?
So yes, we are using several AI models and adding the information from the organization to fine tune it and build the exact answers that are expected by Allison. So and by the organization, we take the vocabulary, we take the jargon of the organization, and we do a few iterations until we see that the AI engine gives the correct answers. After we do a few a few tests, we can then run it on the entire collection. Of course, manual testing and checking on on the items to make sure that things are exact, but it does save a lot of effort. Regarding face recognition, we use face recognition engines and add to them the people that are relevant to the specific organization. So whether they are artists or people that are visiting or contributors to the organization and so on, we put them into the list of faces that we're looking for, and then we run it across the entire collection and find the relevant people, together with the cultural known figures that are already in our collection from the beginning.
Thank you.